Hey guys, it's Damp. Okay, so we're on part three of our Let's Play Beginner series. So as we're looking at this line, I'll show you guys just the news to kind of keep catch you up on where we are. So um, they're basically introducing in this week, depending on what DLCs you have selected, the Flagellant. So you're gonna obviously have the choice to get that. As you're looking at your stagecoach, we want to consider the fact that as we look down here, this is one of the critical times that people tend to make a lot of mistakes. So what they tend to do is they either rush a boss or they're going to begin to invest a lot of gold into like sanity maintenance is what I guess I would call it, where you're looking at reducing the stress level in some of these people. The only reason you're going to invest in somebody is if you feel like you can keep them long term. So that means they have a really good quirk. That's the only reason why you would do this. The secondary reason may be because they have really good skills and you don't want to, you'd rather invest the money into skills, um, rather than paying for skills and upgrading your guild. They have the skills that you need, so you're just going to level those, which does make sense in theory, but really everybody at this point is super disposable unless you're looking to do the achievement where these two guys have to go to the darkest dungeon and make it through. Excluding these two, everybody else really is expendable. Again, think of it just like a business. So as we look down and through here at who we want to bring in, at this point in the game, an Antiquarian, in my opinion, is not a really good choice. Antiquarians are high risk, high reward, which is something for later game or after you really understand the mechanics really well. We're not at that point because we're newer players, and that's the way we're going to look at this. So, out of all of these you see here, the Occultist is probably an option if you have a Cleansing Crystal. If you don't, he's really not worth to even bring into your party. The Shield Breaker by far is the one that you really want to consider. Unholy Hater is pretty good, in that she's got abilities that will bring in some blight damage. So with that, she doesn't have really her best ability, which is Impale, but she still does have some blight damage, and she's going to do additional damage versus Unholy. So she's going to get almost like, I don't want to say double damage, but she's going to have a significant DPS increase on the Ruins, and is probably a really good character to bring to the Necromancer as we look at a few weeks forward. That's where we're going to be going. So you can look at this and go, oh, we can replace the one we already have. This isn't a great perk that she's got, but she does already have the skills. Plus, the Shield Breaker is probably one of the top two, maybe top three characters in the game. So we really don't want to dismiss that. So we want to take a look at our roster and kind of sort by class and see what we have too many of. So as we look down in through here, and it's going to sort by level, we've got 3 Plague Doctors. That's a lot. Probably too many. The Highwaymen are definitely worthwhile. Early in the game, the Crusaders are good because you probably want to bring one to the Necromancer or build a party around that. So probably who I'm going to ditch is going to be one of the higher stress, worst quirked Plague Doctors. So this is a little bit higher level, and higher ranged accuracy is pretty good. So we're going to skip this one, and we're going to dismiss one of these two. So these are also level 1. Who has the quirks are not good on either of them. So Binding Gas, Plague Grenade don't have the front one. You don't have the stun. Ugh. Neither one of these are a great decision. So you have higher stress, so you're gonna go. That'll allow us to bring in the Shield Breaker. Now, I would consider the Leper at this point if they had good quirks, which would be accuracy-based quirks, or like Slugger, something to that extent, but we don't have that here, so I'm not going to prioritize him. And again, on the Occultist, especially the spiritual ability, it's very rarely, if ever, going to be paired with a Vestal, so we're not going to worry about that. So as we look through here, we see that our roster's full. We want to see if we can upgrade anything as far as the either the amount of heroes we're recruiting or the roster size, where we could bring in some of these guys just to bring them through a run to get through a week. Obviously, you guys can tell we don't have enough space to do that due to our lack of deeds. So, at this point, you could really look at recycling some things. For example, the busts. So let's take a look at how many it would take to get us the deeds we need to upgrade. So we would look at almost all of our busts it would take. We could also look at reducing some of the crests, but I really don't think we're at a point where we really need to consider that. So we're going to skip that for now. So I'm not going to invest any money into stress reduction. I'm going to hope that the runs that we go through at this point are going to be sufficient enough where we can dismiss heroes and bring on new ones and replace them as we go. So that being said, it's probably going to be a little dodgy on the next couple runs. We're going to run into some stress, and that's just what happens. But the gold is too valuable at this point to really worry about catering to certain heroes unless we think that they're super, super good. They have really, really good quirks. They've got to be pretty, not necessarily a god roll, but almost a god roll when it comes to the perks and the skills that they have. So I'm not going to worry about really reducing any stress outside of the healers. That's who we would prioritize. So we have this healer here we can bring, and we don't have anybody else really. I mean, this is probably worth looking into reducing for next week if we don't get a healer. And there's times where you will go through a drought. So because this is a healer, we're going to invest 1,000 gold, and we will bring this one on the run. Now, another thing we can do is just make sure that we're running a medium dungeon, which will allow us to probably negate the vast majority of the stress on our own just by using the firewood. So this one's a 90% explore. That's probably some of the easiest to do. This is a short one, which means that we aren't going to be able to recover our stress, so that's got a little more RNG tied to it. So we'll take this cove run, and since it is a cove run, we're going to prioritize the shield breaker. This one, since it's already got stress, we're going to replace it. Bring this one instead. And we obviously have a plague doctor, so I'm going to bring... that one's probably fine. We don't need the jester as much, so we will bring... I could bring a highwayman because it's... If we have... we don't have point blank shot, but they do have a really good leapfrog synergy if you have point blank shot, but we don't have that luxury. So because we don't have that one, as I look through here, we could take the Hellion. They're able to DPS the back row, which makes this a little bit easier. We could take the Bounty Hunter, which makes scouting and you get to pick your fights a little bit easier. We have a few different options, but probably what I'll end up doing is probably just taking the damage benefit. So we could leave her in the second slot. And we'll have to manually switch these part of the time. Because she's going to be going back and forward. She'll probably be blighting most of the time. So what I'm going to do is put the Highwayman here, or the Hellion here. And we are going to strip all the trinkets. And take a look-see at... We really don't have a great scout, which is unfortunate. Move resist. We don't have a great trinket selection either. So, diseases really shouldn't be a factor. I think I'll probably put the survival guide here, which isn't ideal. We really don't have anybody to scout, and it's just based off our roster lineup. So we have Iron Swan, which will carry us through most of the instance. I will take the range skill, since we're going to be using our Blight ability. And most of the rest of these don't offset the negatives. So I think we're good. This should be good, and then we're going to go into the cove and then provision. So I'm going to open up the spreadsheet. and double check our provisions. So I'm looking at provisions on a medium run. We need 18 food. I can probably go. We'll stick to 18 just because we really want to try and save some money. We need 3 shovels, obviously. 13 torches. That gives us a bit of a buffer. And then in the cove, we don't need to bring any extra torches. Bring 3 medicinal herbs. Okay. 1 holy water. 4 bandages. Oh, that's a lot. I'm only going to bring probably 3. And 2 keys. So I'm just going to bring 1 really for the secret room. Because that's a big investment into this early on. I mean, it's 25% of the money that we have. So still, with a medium dungeon, you should be able to get through most of these and still do okay. So we started about 23,000, so that should be okay. All right, so with that, I want to open up that sheet on the spreadsheet. All right, here we go. And I apologize, guys, if I still sound congested. I still feel congested, but my voice is 300% better than what it was the last couple weeks, so.
The smell of rotting fish is almost
all right.
unbearable.
Let's see. We'll just go back through these 2. And this is very linear, so it's a pretty good roll that we got as far as the layout goes. And again, same thing. I don't want to say same thing as always, but the vast majority of what we're going to do is focus on the back 2 rows most of this run. Eliminating or reducing the stress as quickly as possible is really important. That is partially why having a Hellion built with speed can immediately eliminate the 4th row. And then typically you can focus on the 3rd row very, very quickly, which reduces a lot of the stress that you're taking anyway. So since this is going to move her forward rather, and that because of the fact that we have not eliminated the 4th row, we are going to prioritize them just blighting. Or we could do AoE here, and since we don't have Impale, we don't have that option. So we're going to look at using Captivate here to eliminate this turn, maybe in 1 shot, because we already have this dotted in the... we're hoping that we can get a speed roll here in order to kill him before he gets his turn. We didn't hit hard enough there, so either way, we'll get rid of the stress, which is important, and we'll see with the second turn what happens with the second turn. So either way, we didn't get first turn, but this one is Dead Man Walking, so we don't have to focus on it. Since she got stunned, we weren't able to eliminate this, but the reason that I didn't focus this last turn is because it's going to take 4 damage, and I figure as long as Judgment hits, we're okay. So even though it's not going to die there, and she didn't get the additional stress reduction, we do still eliminate the turn. So this one we know is going to be dead, so we're just going to focus here. And with his amount of prot, it's okay for us to use the armor piercing here, which should kill him, and it does. And then we're just going to have to manually reset the party. So we're lucky enough that we get an additional turn. So at this point, what you guys could do is you could hope that you get some stress reduction for your particular individual when you kill this, or you could look at possibly buffing another party member, which is what I'll do, or hope that you could heal. That's where kind of Battlefield Heal and some of the other implements get, like the small heals, the small combat skills, Battlefield Medicine, you have the Battle Heal. All of those typically can be very strong in instances where you have somebody that's either stunned or Dead Man Walking. You have a huge advantage when it comes to heroes versus monsters. So that's where those typically shine. so let's see. Minus 20% stress is definitely worth carrying because we shouldn't have to worry about a death blow resist. So the most important person that you want to have the least amount of stress early game is definitely your healer. Also, because these guys are going to be more likely to get a crit, they're going to reduce stress on their own. At least these two. This one probably won't. Okay, so this one, since I didn't bring the extra shovel, I'm probably not going to bother with this. It could give us a positive quirk, but it would be completely random. If I would have brought a shovel, you could hit it and get actually additional stress, which sometimes works out for the Flagellant if you really want to get his Rapture ability up. So then you have a Barnacle Encrusted Chest, same thing. We could get a bleed, we could get possible gold or heirlooms. You have a 100% chance if you hit it with a shovel to get some additional pieces, but we're just going to roll the dice. Take these, that's fine. Because I didn't bring the additional shovels mostly because of the cost. Since I don't know what's ahead of me, I'm going to light my torch and be a little more conservative.
We require only the strength to follow it.
Alright. We've already explored 2 rooms. We're going to work our way back. Alright. Same deal here. Since we don't have a scout check, we're going to move forward and be a little more conservative. Alright, so who do I have? You need health points. You need 1 health point. You have a little more stress. So we'll start with this one. Alright, that didn't give us that didn't give us the stress relief that I thought it does. Okay, so in this fight we have to focus him down first, which is counter to most of what I always tell you guys. So we're going to stack all our damage on him to make sure he dies, otherwise we take a significant amount of damage. Even the little attacks are going to probably pay off. The reason for it is that he's already dead. If you can tell, dead man walking. So we're good. We can move on. Let's see. We could get a bleed here. Yeah, but it's on the wrong guy. And same thing here. We're going to focus on eliminating the one with the higher health because she has the armor piercing ability and we don't need to worry about the 4th row. If we had to worry about the 4th row, we would keep her for the Iron Swan. Okay, dead. We're good to go. Since he's dead man walking, I'm just going to buff. And then we got to remember to switch her. Okay. And again, our purpose with the firewood is we're going to wait as long as we possibly can to use it.
As the light gains purchase,
Hopefully we should be able to make it almost all the way out of the dungeon.
clear.
Same thing. Focus the back row. He's guarded. You're gonna get hit with Iron Swan. We're actually gonna heal.
A momentary abatement.
Okay, so dead. And then, since we don't have to worry about the back row, we're gonna go here.
Death by inches.
And since he's guarded, I think we'll spam here. Okay, that rolls high enough that he's dead. And that will start to feed dots. Obviously, the shield breaker can use the armor piercing, but wow, that was a really good hit. And that does hit hard sometimes. The dot's probably better. Even going through the armor, dot's probably better. Same thing here. Get the dot trigger. He resisted. Okay, that one. He doesn't guard, that'll be dead next turn. Go. Okay, dead next turn. And this fight's gone on a little longer than I would have liked for sure.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Like in this situation, we're gonna buff speed in order to get another heal off before he dies. Let's move. Damn. It was worth a shot.
Maintain the offensive.
Oops. How much? We're taking 2 damage for 2 rounds. That's enough. I think we can handle that.
Packs laden with loot are often
Not gonna bother with the journal pages. Okay, moving on. We've actually run into more fights than I've expected. Let's see. Here we could stun. Yeah. Here we go. And we're behind schedule with the healing. Let's heal her. That slash hurts. Ugh, that hurts worse. Damn. One short. Jukes! Oof.
And now the true test. Hold fast or expire.
Okay, so now we're probably at the point where we're going to need to manage Death's Door, which is really, really important in the game. Learning how to handle that. Which is basically just keeping them, as soon as you see Death's Door, is getting them back off Death's Door and vice versa. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. The important part of it is that you treat it as almost an additional heal when you get to Death's Door. We had a little bit of bad RNG there, but nothing too terrible. We were working from behind from a healing standpoint too, but the Seaward Slash hitting us definitely didn't help us. Let's see.
The match is struck.
Take those.
Blazing star is born.
Really don't have anything we can completely ditch at this point, and they're worth more than 100 gold. So, even though we know we're gonna have to stack the gold by that time, I may get some sort of a hunger check. So, moving forward. We've had a lot of fights, even though we've only had 5 rooms, so... Even though we got a really good layout, we didn't necessarily get good RNG when it came to what's in between the layout. So... Yeah, see, we're going to be managing Death's Door for a while, it looks like.
Terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
It doesn't do us a whole lot of good to focus one heal right here when everybody else needs heals, is another thing. If your healer isn't triggering high enough, sometimes you're going to low roll anyway and only get a 3. So it's best to just do the best you can and keep them off Death's Door. If they get hit once, they may get hit again, but you're just going to have to deal with it, truthfully. Let's see. What do I want to do here? I need to be aggressive enough. Let's see. But I also... I'm going to play it safe. Since we don't have anybody in the 4th row. Since damage is more of a problem than stress, I'm actually going to switch and target him instead. Oh, good. That turn just went to nothing. Alright. Oh, good. That's actually the best we could have hoped for as far from the damage standpoint. Ugh.
A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
I'm gonna do that just to get off Death's Door in case we get a low speed roll. Oh wow. Even though it's blocked, we still took 21 stress damage. Nice. And that's why it was important that I got off Death's Door. Because we didn't get the chance to heal in time. And this is normally why we would target him first, because of the amount of stress that he's able to do. The reason I chose the single target heal there was to do enough damage to really look at making sure that if she gets hit and it's a fairly mid to a low roll, that it won't put her back on Death's Door again. So that's why I did that.
Ghoulish horrors, brought low and driven into the mud.
Those aren't worthwhile, so I'm not gonna bother with those. Or Chris. Bring the torch up again. And at this point, I would seriously consider using the firewood, it would make it really easy. Thankfully, we actually got a scout check, so I'm gonna look for the empty rooms simply to make this go as quickly as possible. So if we get lucky and these 2 rooms are empty, we're pretty much done with our run. So we're gonna see how this works. The bus, we don't need that much. It's more valuable than that, though. And that's something we can obviously just put on ourselves. I was about to eat prior to that, but I knew we were due for a food check, so that actually worked out okay.
May we find victory.
Alright. So we have stress, we have damage. Our health situation isn't as poor as what it was, so I'm going to actually focus this one here. Unless I get the Iron Swan roll. Of course, resist. Why wouldn't you? And the person we don't want to get stressed is getting stressed. Because of the situation we're in, we're probably going to bandage that. Four to 5. Typically at that point I would be a little more aggressive, but because of her situation and how it's gone, I just figured I'll do that. Okay. So the reason we chose that was just to eliminate the turn, y'all. I mean, I figured that's pretty much self-explanatory. Ugh. Kind of surprised that didn't hit, actually. I'm trying to do anything I can to get this stress down, because we're about to get into the point where we're going to be rolling. Yeah, here we are already. Finally. Okay, so against these 2, I'm going to pick this one, simply to eliminate the turn. I'm going to try and dot, because we know it's going to go on him right now. Same thing, I'm going to bandage when it comes up again. Nice, that's good. Helps. And let's see. I'm gonna do this because it'll give us a better better blight attack the next round. And we can still do significant damage, so. Not enough to kill him, unfortunately. Alright, now he's dead. This one's unprotected, so we're going to shift. More bandages. Yeah, I could have adrenaline rushed there, but I'm really worried about just getting through the turn to eliminate the stress that we're running into. Here, he's already dead, so I'm going to hope that I can trigger another heal. We didn't.
This expedition at least promises success.
Okay. So here we're looking at who's going to do the most damage. Probably him. Her, rather. Okay. Alright, so we're going to go to this room, hope that this room's empty, and then be almost done. And then we can use our firewood. Same thing, we're not going to bother with that. Oh, we did get a scout check. That's good. Well, that helps.
Another mariner, another misfortune.
That was lucky.
A moment of clarity in the eye of the
That was
storm.
really lucky. I believe it's good. So that should make this run, the rest of this run, significantly easier. We may still have to clear this one, I'm not sure. Oh, that's not bad. It's early in the game, that's pretty good. Let's see. Anything we can dump. That. Let's eat that. That there. Again, we don't need the journal pages. Reason I'm leaving this here is because the loot we can expect. So we know as we go through the rest of the run that we aren't going to need another shovel. So we'll pop it open. Through here. And we're going to go ahead and torch up. Then we can take this. What's your speed? 2. What's your speed? 3. Okay, so you're more likely to go. Alright. We did have to do this last one. Hopefully this is the last one. Either way, some of these people are probably going to get dismissed after this because of the amount of stress they've taken. Even though she has lower speed, she managed to go first. Is nice. But if her dot or if her blight hits, it still should kill her. Oh, good. Never mind. So we can eliminate a turn. Let's see. Here. Okay, we'll miss. Good. Just as we planned. Okay, dead at next turn anyway. Okay, we're dead here. And dead here. Oh, come on. There, finally. So this one's left. Can we stun? We might be able to stun. Nope. Good. Just as we planned. Just to try and heal through some of that bleed that they both have. Okay, dead next turn. Nice, okay. These two will last through that, for sure. We're gonna give speed here, so maybe we can get 2 heals off. Maybe. This doesn't matter, so we'll go up here. Let's try and give her another turn. She'll cure her own bleed. Oh, nice. Cure your bleed. Okay. Yeah, our healer's super slow, y'all.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Let's see. I don't need that, so buff. We go. Take that. More deeds, that's good. And crests we don't need as many of, but let's see, what can we dump? Really don't need that. Yeah. Deeds though. Alright, so we still didn't finish, so we still gotta do one more battle. So we're gonna save enough food in case there's a food check, right before the room. Okay, so we didn't get a food check, so we know that we've got to eat quite a bit of food just in the camp. So we're gonna eat 4 food just for these guys to get them up a little bit off the edge there. And this should be the last room that we need to do. Okay, same thing. He's got to go first. Um, 5 per round, 10. A second turn. I'm trying to do the math here and see. The play was truthfully to hit judgment here, but I wanted to play it safe. Just because I'm worried that we may get some bad RNG with the way that the crits are increased right now with the torch levels, so. If I would have judged here, he probably would have been dead next turn without having to worry about him. But that's alright. Okay, he's dead. And the reason I didn't go after the stress wave first, y'all, was the same thing. It's just because of the fact that we had that guy in the front. Oh my. Super lucky.
A moment of clarity in the
I don't think I've ever had that happen. Where I've had him back to back. I'll take it. For once.
decimated.
Alright. And yeah, sure. That's fine. Let's just get rid of this thing as quickly as possible and get out of here. It's been a hell of a run. So even though it was easier to go through and rest at the campsite
Be gone, fiend.
and use the firewood earlier on in the dungeon, you guys can tell it was definitely worth it to not do that.
Creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Alright, so now we're done. We're going to roll our firewood. And obviously the feast to get the stress down. And this is a risk because we could get in another fight, but either way, it's the safest play to be able to get out of this with very little stress. So I don't think we have anybody to prevent. No, we don't. And she's going to get an interaction either way, but we will get one of her trinkets. So this shouldn't really be too bad. We'll see how it goes. But we know we're going to get an additional fight because you have the shield breaker here. Spoiler alert, by the way. Most of our guys are not religious. We don't really have... I don't want the minus accuracy and speed when we're about to go into battle. Let's see. Armor piercing would help. This is probably important. I'm looking at the best buffs we can really do. Accuracy and dodge. She's been missing, so she needs that. We'll take this one. And armor piercing. So we've got 3 left. None of these are great. I mean, sharpened spear is good, and I typically would lead with that. But we also have stress to consider for her in order to run it back and run another dungeon. But this could also help reduce some of the stress either way, but probably not 15. But she can't cast that on herself. we have to do this, and then we'd have one more, which I don't even know if I have a 1 ability. No, I don't. So let's just take Sharpened Spear. Alright. So spoiler alert. Here come the Vipers. So she's gonna take stress, but luckily, we've actually already done. She's already focused, so that helps significantly. Dodge 7, dodge 12. Stun resistance is okay. They're a little resistant to blight. Start here. Yeah, I figured that would happen. It's a low level. Oh, repost, nice. That's good. Probably gonna have to spam heals. Because she's probably gonna get focused. %35% prot. Blight's probably gonna get resisted, so. This is, I like the artwork on these though, they're really good. Let's see. Damn. Yeah, she's gonna get focused. Probably you're gonna have her do her sway. Just to get us through the next couple turns. There we go. Nice.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
Oh, that was clutch, actually. Okay, better. That's better.
Teetering on the brink.
Yeah, this is not gonna go well. She may drop. I don't know. Yep. I thought so. Damn, that sucks. But we can get through that mostly because of the massive amount of buffs. Or debuffs that she had in the dots, so it was worth a shot to try and get through it. I thought with all the buffs we might make it, but we didn't. So we'll get out of there, and that dungeon took a lot longer than what I expected, just based off the amount of fights we ran into, y'all. So we started about 23,000 before we went into that battle. We collected 7885 amongst, you know, a bunch of heirlooms. So that doesn't help us. That really doesn't help us. That doesn't help us. And neither one of those help us. But we did get our
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory.
we did get the Vestal up to level 2. So alright. So we got the Flagellum Collar, which is okay, but probably not going to help us early on in the game. And you guys saw the event that popped up. Stress reduction activities in town are slightly less effective. So we really don't have a lot of stuff to do stress reduction on. We got up to about 30,000, so that was a pretty good increase with all the stuff we were able to loot. And we got our deeds up to 18, which means that when we look here, we can increase the number of heroes available to 5. So when you come to this decision, you when you come to this point, you have a decision to make. When you look here, you can increase the size of the roster, and that's immediate. So what we could do here is we could increase the size of the roster, and what happens is we could bring all those guys in and not really have to worry about it too much. Otherwise, we could go here, but this isn't effective until next week. Longer term, the top option is your better one. But if you're in a crisis mode, then you could go short term here. Just somehow make a dodgy party out of this and move forward. But I'm going to pick this one because longer term, that's going to help us far better. So anyway, that's the end of this episode. I know it was only 1 week. It went by very, very quickly. But we're almost at an hour already. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for your patience while I was putting out another video. And I will see you guys hopefully in a couple days.